At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to a young girl named Nori, who discovers from an early age that she is anything but normal. 7-year-old Nori looks out her bedroom window and spots a cat roaming the yard. The moment her eyes lock onto the feline, whiskers sprout from her cheeks and her body morphs into a cat. But before her mind can process the change, her father steps into the room. Fast forward 6 years later, and Nori is preparing to step into the prestigious Sage Academy alongside her best friend, Ria. Ria possesses the ability to manipulate fire, though she is constantly plagued by self-doubt. Nori acts as her primary supporter, constantly assuring her that she has what it takes to succeed. However, Nori's own abilities remain chaotic. Whenever she attempts to shapeshift, she doesn't turn into a single animal. A few weeks later, the two girls join a crowd of nervous students at a bus stop. Out of nowhere, a mysterious figure emerges from behind a tree, announcing that he has come to escort them to their new home. Bidding their parents farewell, the children follow him deep into the woods, where they encounter a glowing portal leading straight into Sage Academy. The moment the kids step through, their phones lose all connection. Principal Linda soon steps forward to reveal that the entire student body will be divided into 5 distinct power-based factions: animal speakers, telekinetics, fire manipulators, flyers, and shapeshifters. Before official instruction can begin, every new recruit must undergo an evaluation to test their precise magical alignment. First up are the fire manipulators, known as flares, who must ignite a candle positioned 2 meters away. A boy named Philip executes the task with ease. But when Elliot steps up, his attempt yields nothing but a cloud of dark smoke. Next is Ria, who astonishes the judges by instantly summoning a flame from her little finger. The animal speakers, or fuzzies. In the telekinesis exam, students are required to pull a potted flower toward themselves. However, a candidate named Pepper accidentally pushes the pot across the room. During the flight assessment, students must levitate for 30 seconds. Andre removes his heavy backpack and immediately shoots into the air uncontrollably, slamming into the ceiling until the professors are forced to bring a ladder to retrieve him. Finally, it is time for Nori's evaluation. Her task is simple: look at a cat and hold its exact form for 6 seconds. But as soon as she triggers her power, wings burst from her back alongside the feline transformation. The instructors look on in shock as Nori once again loses control, failing to manifest a single, stable form. Following the trials, the students gather in the courtyard to open their official placement cards. Ria opens hers to find she has been placed in the flares, leaving her overjoyed. But when Nori unveils her card, her heart sinks. Printed on the paper are 3 cryptic letters: UDM. While the standard students are directed toward the main cafeteria to collect their uniforms, Nori is instructed to follow a separate, secluded path marked with the UDM symbol. The path leads her deep into the forest to a hidden facility. There, a man named Bud guides her down into an underground classroom filled with other students who failed their entry exams. Nori is horrified to learn that they will not be taught active magic, but will instead receive a standard human education. When Nori demands answers, Principal Linda arrives to deliver a grim truth. UDM stands for upside-down magic, a classification for individuals whose powers are defective and dangerous. To justify this harsh rule, Principal Linda brings up a dark piece of the school's history. Years ago, a former student named Resin Roberts fell victim to shadow magic. As regular classes commence, Ria learns that Sage Academy is preparing for Founders Day, a high-stakes event. In the Flares class, Professor Argon instructs the students to turn raw corn kernels into popcorn. Ria tries to focus, but Philip begins mocking her performance. Rattled by anxiety, Ria loses control of her heat, burning the entire batch. Professor Argon scolds her harshly, while nearby, a mysterious girl named Chandra watches with a sinister smile. The following morning, Bud gathers his UDM class in the courtyard for what Nori hopes is a flight lesson. But when she mounts a broom, she crashes onto the floor, discovering that the brooms are non-magical and meant strictly for yard work. Nearby, Nori observes a standard class practicing cat transformations. Determined to prove that she belongs in the main program, Nori decides to secretly study their techniques and showcase her growth at Founders Day. She focuses intently on the target cat, memorizing its movements, but when she attempts the shift, her magic backfires into another chaotic hybrid creature. The professor immediately summons Bud to remove her before the principal notices. Desperate to excel, Rhea stays up late studying in the school library. Suddenly, a heavy black book falls from a high shelf on its own. When Rhea opens the cover, the ambient lights flicker out and an eerie aura fills the room. Realizing it is the infamous Book of Shadow Magic, she quickly shelves it and attempts to flee, only to realize the tome is gliding through the air right behind her. Back in the dorms, Nori continues practicing her transformations with her UDM peers. However, her magic continuously breaks down after 3 seconds, leaving her in erratic hybrid forms. Meanwhile, Rhea watches Nori from her window, feeling a growing distance between them. At that moment, the Shadow Magic book opens itself beside Rhea, revealing a dark ritual promising absolute mastery over one's powers. As she reads the spell, a dense black mist coils around her, sinking directly into her chest. Hours later, the Academy convenes for the Founders' Day qualifying trials. In the flare duel, Philip faces off against Rhea. Confident of his victory, Philip watches in shock as Rhea unleashes a surge of dark-infused energy, instantly popping her kernels to perfection. Professor Argon awards her the victory. Suddenly, Nori steps onto the platform, begging for a single chance to demonstrate her progress. She initiates her shift into a cat, and the timer begins. But at the 4-second mark, wings erupt from her spine, and her body violently cycles through multiple hybrid forms. Panic sets in as Nori loses complete control. Rhea rushes forward to help her friend, but the shadow energy inside her reacts wildly, spawning a massive, destructive fireball that shoots straight toward Nori. Nori snaps back to her human form just in time to dodge the blast. Bud rushes in to stabilize Nori, while a horrified Rhea apologizes. Outraged by the chaotic display, Principal Linda issues a stern warning to Bud, threatening to fire him if he fails to keep the UDM students under control. Dejected, the UDM students return to their underground quarters, convinced they will never master their abilities. Seeing their spirits broken, Bud decides he can no longer enforce the school's oppressive rules. He leads the group into the deep woods and reveals his own secret. He was once a UDM student himself. Bud demonstrates his true power by singing a unique melody, causing dozens of forest animals to peacefully gather around him. Inspired, the students agree to begin secret training under Bud to master their unique traits. Meanwhile, Nori grows suspicious that Rhea's sudden power surge is connected to something dangerous. When Rhea returns to her dormitory, she finds Chandra waiting inside, holding the dark tome. A knock sounds at the door, and Rhea opens it to find Nori standing outside. Rhea pulls her into an intense hug, but fear quickly takes over. Afraid that Nori will discover the cursed book inside her room, Rhea abruptly pushes her away and locks the door. The next day, Bud begins unorthodox training with the UDM group. As the group flourishes, Rhea watches from afar. Suddenly, Chandra materializes beside her. When Rhea demands to be left alone, nearby students glance at her in confusion, revealing a terrifying truth. Chandra is an entity visible to Rhea alone. Panic-stricken, Rhea retreats to her room, but the spectral presence follows, whispering that she must surrender entirely to the dark power to unlock her true potential. Overwhelmed by pressure, Rhea fully submits to the shadow magic. Nori arrives moments later, sensing a horrific dark energy radiating from her friend. Rhea's eyes darken, and her voice turns monstrous as she warns Nori that the shadow magic intends to consume the entire academy on Founders' Day, urging Nori to flee while she can. Nori alerts Bud immediately. Knowing Principal Linda will dismiss the warning, Bud instructs the UDM team to prepare for an inevitable battle during the main event. The next morning, the entire academy gathers in the main courtyard for Founders' Day. Principal Linda calls Rhea to the stage to open the ceremony. Rhea begins by tracing glowing, fiery letters in the sky, but the performance quickly spirals into horror. A massive black flame erupts from her hands, blotting out the sun as a demonic voice booms from within her chest, declaring that the shadow has returned to reclaim the world. The faculty leaps into action. Professor Argon and the Flare students launch intense fire attacks, but the shadow entity absorbs the flames effortlessly. The fuzzy students attempt to unleash beasts, but the animals flee in terror. As mass panic sweeps the courtyard, the UDM team steps up to fight. Pepper launches a focused kinetic strike that knocks the entity back. Elliot creates a thick fog screen to obscure the monster's vision, while Andre flies rapid circles around its head as a distraction. Nori transforms into a massive, powerful hybrid creature, stepping directly into the beast's path. Principal Linda orders a full lethal strike against the entity, but Nori blocks the attack, knowing that her best friend is still trapped inside. Standing face to face with the shadow, Nori calls out to Ria's true self, risking her life to reach her friend. Just as the monster prepares to crush Nori, an explosion of pure light bursts from within its chest. The dark smoke dissipates, leaving Ria exhausted on the ground. Nori shifts back to her human form and rushes forward, pulling her best friend into a tearful embrace. Having saved Sage Academy from total destruction, the UDM students prove once and for all that unconventional magic is not a flaw. Bud is officially promoted to a full professor, heading a new department dedicated to alternative magical styles. If you enjoyed this wild magical journey, don't you dare scroll away without hitting that subscribe button and dropping your thoughts in the comments below. What was your favorite hybrid transformation in the movie? Let me know down below. Hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.